If I were the devil. If I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul Harvey. Good day. From now on, I'm quoting an open letter from God. My dear children, and believe me, that is all of you, I consider myself a pretty patient guy. I mean, look at the Grand Canyon. It took millions of years to get it right. And about evolution, boy, nothing is slower than designing that whole Darwinian thing to take place, cell by cell and gene by gene. And I have been patient through your fashions, your civilizations, wars, and schemes, and the countless ways that you take me for granted until you get yourselves into big trouble again and again. I want to let you know about some of the things that started ticking me off. First of all, your religious rivalries are driving me up a wall. Enough already. Let's get one thing straight. These are your religions, not mine. I'm the whole enchilada. I'm beyond them all.
Every one of your religions claims that there's only one of me, which, by the way, is absolutely true, but in the very next breath, each religion claims that it's my favorite one, and each claims its Bible was written personally by me, and that all of the other Bibles are man-made. Oh, me. How do I ever begin to put a stop to such complicated nonsense? All right. Listen up now. I am your father and mother, and I don't play favorites among my children. Also, I hate to break it to you, but I don't write. My longhand is awful, and I've always been more of a doer anyway. So all of your books, including those Bibles, were written by men and women. They were inspired men and women. They were remarkable people, but they also made mistakes here and there, and I made sure of that so that you would never trust a written word rather than your own living heart. You see, one human being to me, even a bum on the street, is worth more than all of the holy books in the world. That's just the kind of a guy I am. My spirit is not an historical thing. It's alive, right now, as fresh as your next breath. Holy books and religious rites are sacred and powerful, but they are not more so than the least of you. They were only meant to steer you in the right direction, not to keep you arguing with each other, and certainly not to keep you from trusting your own personal connection with me. Which brings me to my next point about your nonsense. You act like I need you and your religions to stick up for me or win souls. For my sake, please don't do me any favors. I can stand quite well on my own, thank you. I don't need you to defend me. I don't need constant credit. I just want you to be good to each other. And another thing, I don't get all worked up over money or politics, so stop dragging my name into your dramas. For example, I swear to me that I never threatened Oral Roberts. I never rode in any of Rajneesh's Rolls Royces, and I never told Pat Robertson to run for president. And I have never, ever had a conversation with Jim Baker or Jerry Falwell or Jimmy Swaggart. Of course, come Judgment Day, I certainly intend to. Now, the thing is, I want you to stop thinking of religion as some sort of a loyalty pledge to me. The true purpose of your religions is so that you can become more aware of me, not the other way around. Believe me, I know you already. I know what's in each of your hearts. And I love you anyway, with no strings attached. So lighten up and enjoy me. That's what religion's best for. What you seem to forget is how mysterious I am. You look at the petty differences in your scriptures and you say, well, if this is the truth, then that can't be. But instead of trying to figure out my paradoxes and unfathomable nature, which, by the way, you never will, why not open your hearts to the simple common threads of every religion? You know what I'm talking about. Play nice with each other. Love and respect everyone. Be kind. Even when life is scary or confusing, take courage and be of good cheer, for I'm always with you. And learn how to be quiet so that you can hear my still small voice. I don't like to shout. Leave the world a better place by living your life with dignity and gracefulness. For you are my own child. Hold back nothing from life. For the parts of you that can die surely will, and the parts that can't won't. So don't worry. Be happy. I stole that last line from Bobby McFerrin, but who gave it to him in the first place? Simple stuff now. Why do you keep making it so complicated? It's like you're always looking for an excuse to be upset. And I am very tired of your main excuse. Do you think I care whether you call me God or Yahweh or Jehovah, Allah, Waka Tonka, Brahma, Father, Mother, even the void of Nirvana? Do you think I care which of my special children you feel closest to? Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, or any of the others? You can call me and my special ones any name you choose, if only you will go about my business of loving one another as I love you. How can you keep neglecting something so simple? No, I am not telling you to abandon your religions. Enjoy your religions. Honor them. Learn from them. Just as you should enjoy, honor, and learn from your parents. But do you walk around telling everyone that your parents are better than theirs? Your religion, like your parents, may always have the most special place in your heart. I don't mind that at all. And I don't want you to combine all of the great traditions into one big mess. Each religion is unique for a reason. Each has a unique style so that people can find the best path for themselves. But, my special children, the ones that your religions revolve around, all live in the same place, in my heart. And they get along perfectly, I assure you. The clergy must stop creating a myth of sibling rivalry where there is none. My blessed children of earth, the world has grown too small for your pervasive religious bigotries and confusion. The whole planet is now connected by air travel, satellite dishes, telephones, fax machines, rock concerts, diseases, and mutual needs and concerns. Get with the program. If you really want to help me celebrate the birthday of my son Jesus, then commit yourselves to figuring out how to feed your hungry and clothe your naked and protect your abused and shelter your poor. And just as important, make your own everyday life a shining example of kindness and good humor. I've given you all of the resources you need if only you abandon your fear of each other and begin living and loving and laughing together. Finally, my children everywhere, remember whose birthday you honor on what you call Christmas Day, December 25, and the fearlessness with which he chose to live and die. As I love him, so do I love each of you. Now, I am not really ticked off. Not really. I just wanted to grab your attention because I hate to see you suffer. But I gave you free will. So what can I do now other than try to influence you through reason, persuasion, and a little old-fashioned guilt and manipulation? After all, you know, I am the original Jewish mother. I just want you to be happy. And I'll sit in the dark. I really am, indeed, I swear, with you always, always. Trust in me. Your one and only God. End quote. Paul Harvey. Good day.
This is God's country. We turn the dirt and work until the week's done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country.
You just don't understand.
Maybe we do, son. Don't think you have a corner on all of virtue vision in the country, or that everybody else is fat and selfish and you're the first generation to come along that's felt dissatisfied. They all have, you know, about different things, and most of them didn't have the same opportunity and freedoms that you do. Let's talk poverty. Most places in the world, that's not a problem. It's a way of life. And rights, they're liable to give you a blank stare because they may not know what you're talking about. The fact is, more people are living better right here than anywhere else ever before in history. So don't expect us to roll over and play dead when you say you're dissatisfied. It's not perfect, but it's a great deal better than when we grew up. 100 men standing in the street hoping for one job, selling apples on the street corner. That's one of the things we were dissatisfied about, and you don't see that much anymore.
You're taller, stronger, healthier, better educated, and you live longer than the last generation. And we don't think that's altogether bad. You've probably never seen a quarantine sign in your neighbor's door. Diphtheria, scarlet fever, whooping cough. Probably none of your classmates are crippled with polio. You don't see many mastoid scars anymore. We've done quite a bit of fighting all around the world. Whether you think it was moral or not, a lot of people are free today to make their own mistakes because of it. And that may just include you.
I don't know. Maybe part of it's the fact that you're in a hurry. You've grown up on instant orange juice. Flip a dial, instant entertainment. Dial 7 digits, instant communication. Turn a key, push a pedal, instant transportation. Flash a card, instant money. Shove in a problem, push a few buttons, instant answers. But some problems you can't get quick answers to, no matter how much you want them. We took a little boy into Central Receiving Hospital yesterday. He was 4 years old. He weighs 8.5 pounds. His parents just haven't bothered to feed him. Now, give me a fast answer to that one. One that'll stop that from ever happening again. And if you can't settle that one, what about the 55,000 Americans who will die on the highways this year? That's nearly 6 or 7 times the number that'll get killed in Vietnam. Why aren't you up in arms about that? Or is dying in a car somehow moral? Tell me how to wipe out prejudice. I'll settle for just the prejudices you have inside yourselves. Show me how to get rid of the unlimited capacity for human beings to make themselves believe that they're somehow right and justified in stealing from somebody or hurting somebody. And you'll just about put this place here out of business.
I don't think that we're telling you to lose your ideals or your sense of outrage. They're the only way things ever get done. And there's a lot that still needs doing. And we hope you'll tackle it. You don't have to do anything dramatic like trying to come up with a better country. You can find enough to keep you busy right here. While you're at it, don't break things up in the name of progress or crack a placard stick over somebody's head to help him see the light. Be careful of his rights, because your property and your person and your rights aren't any better than his. And next time, you may be the one to get it. We remember a man who killed 6 million people and called it social improvement.
So hang in. Don't try to build a new country. Make the old one work. It has for over 400 years, and by the world's standards, that's hardly more than yesterday.
Hello, 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 and welcome back, everyone, to another episode here of Journey into Freedom with me, your host, Red Gypsy. All right, so we have a lot of topics on the table tonight. We are going to talk about some current inventions that I've come across. Well, at least one. And some viewpoints on that. Well, my viewpoint on that. And then we have weekly guidance, the recap of full moon news, and homestead updates. And then we are going to delve into the 80s. We're going to go back in time, and we're going to talk about health and wellness in the 80s. And then we are going to talk about home remedies, herbs, cooking with herbs holistically for health and well-being, and just in general, those type of things. Oh, at folk medicine. And then we are going to talk about the laying on of hands, energy work, energy healing, as well as naturopathic or nurturopathic. And then, if we still have time, we are going to delve into a very secretive, I guess now in this day and age, it would be considered secretive. So we're going to delve into some secretive, forgotten facts and knowledge of the life of plants. Now, I have a couple things in the works right now, and I was hoping that my intros were going to take just a little longer. I'm not sure when Scarlett is actually going to be joining us, or if she is even going to be joining us this evening. I haven't actually gotten to speak to her much this weekend. So, that being said, I have been shuffling with the intention of weekly guidance here for everybody. And so let's go ahead and do that. I think should be our first notation, because we should just start off right away, I think, knowing what they are thinking for us for the week. And so that being said, weekly guidance. Alright. Witch Ascended Master. We have a wonderful Ascended Master that has come forward to give us our weekly guidance, and it is Lakshmi, which is the Hindu goddess. Sorry, we haven't gotten to the homestead update yet, so I'll get there onto the slight distractions today. Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess, and she represented prosperity and the help to overcome financial fear, as well as to tap into the river of abundance that's available to everyone. So we call on her specifically to help transmute money worries into financial flow. The card is Flow of Prosperity. Her message is, this card indicates that your prayers about your financing have been heard and answered. So what she wants you to know is that you should be manifesting, you should be tapping into your manifestation power by focusing on abundance instead of worrying about money. When you're worrying about it, you're creating fear. And when you're creating fear, you're creating a flow. So when you're worrying about money, you're actually attracting money problems. Whereas when you just stop worrying about it and focus on abundance instead of money, you're bringing in a different energy flow. So the new flow of prosperity is going to support you as well as your loved ones, and you have nothing to fear with this. You do have the support right now to make changes. Visualizing and affirming prosperity is a big change for a lot of people. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we're doing it. You know, we don't realize that we're focusing on, oh my gosh, I just spent all of my money because, you know, here we can almost like put in a homestead update at the same time, because, you know, we can be like, oh my gosh, we just had to spend all of our money because the vet had to come out and see the llama, and we could be stressing and worrying about that, but instead we were like, well, we do what has to be done, and it will work itself out the way it is supposed to work itself out. Well, that is the weekly guidance for the week, and so abundance, prosperity, flow of prosperity. Let go of that worry and just start working on that manifestation and working on that that abundance, that flow of abundance. And never mistake what abundance is either. I think sometimes abundance comes to us in such kind of small and minute ways that we often overlook it. And, you know, there used to be this old saying, and I'm going to use it because that's part of what we're going to do tonight. We're going to flash back to the 80s about health and wellness. But I think that we have, we've forgotten a lot. And one of the things that I know used to be said to me a lot when I was younger was, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And I never really understood what that was. Now here on our homestead, I guess the saying is a little different, because I think we are more like, we don't look the gift goat in the mouth. Because, well, you know, we have an overabundance of goats. It happens. Don't judge me. If you don't have goats, you could never understand the goat life. And goat life is real. Goat life will keep you on your toes. And llama life. Llama life is real.
You start the water, we get a you stoke the fire.
And you didn't think
you stoke the fire.
That, you know, having a llama, we didn't, you know, when we first got her, it was very hard because she had already bonded and all. She had already bonded, and so switching her over was difficult. Now, she's taken to the oldest boy on the farm, and you know, my oldest, and that's who she's now close with, kind of bonding to. And so she got this, we don't really know what happened. The vet thinks she just got snagged or caught on something, probably while eating. And it didn't heal, and we didn't notice it was under the fur, and we didn't get to see it until it was infected. And when it became infected, we gave the vet a call. So the vet came out, first time that we've had the vet out on the homestead. And so she came out. The llama, she needed a little bit of work. Not too bad. Vet said it wasn't too bad. We gave her a shot of antibiotic. We lanced it. We drained it. And now we're working on the healing. Now, she has to get another injection of antibiotic tomorrow. I'll do that myself. She drew up the injection and left it with me. So we're going to do that. And hopefully this gets Smitten Kitten all healed up. And good to go. Now, when she was here, obviously she looked at baby Elijah, since, you know, mommy and baby kind of go together. So baby Elijah was a surprise to her. The first thing that she started off with was that Kitten was a little thinner than she would like to see her normally, which I agreed 100%, and I said, you know, but since she's given birth, we've had trouble getting her weight back up. At which point she said, okay, well, I think we need to get him weaned. That's our first step. We should be separating them, getting him weaned off before his testes drop. And we run into son and mom breeding thing. Well, I said then, I thought Kyra stay with mom and nurse for the first year. And she nodded and she agreed and she said yes. And she goes, but you know, we can wean usually about as young as 8 months, and you know, anywhere from 8 months on, depending on the size of the Kyra. in this case, she's like, I think he's big enough to wean. And I said, but he's 4 months old. And she said, oh, I don't know if you have that correct or not. Maybe the breeder that you got him from might have mixed up dates. I said, no. He was born here. I actually hand-delivered that llama, and he was born August 25th. And she went, oh, he's huge. And no, we can't wean him yet. And then it was a complete different kind of mentality about mom being a little on the thin side right now, seeing now that the vet has been here, and because Kitten is our first llama. We've never had camelids. We've never owned anything like that. She was our very, very first little princess girl, and she was really super cool. It was cool to be like looking out in the pasture and seeing a llama. That was kind of neat. I always wanted in my life, I always thought when I was younger that I wanted a little homestead and one of my animals and one of things, and maybe not these animals. I may not have imagined, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I never imagined I was going to have goats. Ever. In my life. Now, there was a span where I thought I was going to have llamas. I do remember that. And that was, during my showtime at the fair and stuff like that, when we got to see llamas and alpacas and all that up close in 4-H. And I had friends that had llamas, and I just thought they were the coolest thing. But they weren't cool to me because llamas aren't friendly with people unless they have a bond with them. So when you go to see somebody else's llama, that llama doesn't really like you, so you're not really getting one-on-one llama action, so to speak. It's not, you can look at it. It looks cool from a distance. You want to get closer, you're taking your own, hey. Approach the llama at your own risk. Watch out, they spit. That's all I'm saying. Me personally, my llama has never spit on anybody.
Including the vet.
Including the vet. Even when the vet cut her face open with a scalpel to lance a wound and squeeze out stuff, she never, ever spit. She never tried to fight. She never kicked. She never anything. She was amazing. She was absolutely amazing, especially since we don't really give her enough credit for being as friendly as apparently she is, because the vet gave us a good compliment that Kitten was the friendliest llama she's dealt with in her veterinary work. And then with Elijah, with as friendly as he is, but apparently we're all thinking we should have named him Goliath with as big as she's saying he is, since she thought he was double his age. But I feel good about that, because even though Mom's getting a little thin and we just got to up more food for her, and that happens no matter what it is, whether you're talking about dogs or horses or goats even, after they deliver and the babies are still nursing, they do draw down a bit. Now, right now, the 4 to 5 month range is usually around when goats are kicking babies off of them. So now is when I'm used to weaning. But it's not the same for the camelids. It's not the same for the llamas. So, that made me feel good to know that the first llama baby born here, he's obviously doing really good. And they got really good, excellent, checks of health there. and the rest of the farm just got a quick glance over by the vet, and she thought that we had a very excellent looking dairy goat herd, which makes you feel good. I mean, you know, when the vet can step on your off-grid property and look at your animals and even kind of make mention, I guess I might have felt bad 2 or 3 years ago had the vet have made this what I now take as a compliment to me, which was, your animals are living like kings and you guys are still living in you know, small trailer RVs. And, you know, she's like, you've built great shelters and done all this for the animals, and yet, you know, your own shelter waits. And, you know, but we do what we do. But it made me feel really good, to know that everybody looks good and healthy. And even though, we're dealing with the infection with Kitten right now, you know, she actually made me feel good about that, because I was pretty concerned, but she said it really wasn't that bad for what she's seen in the past, and especially on llamas, and that this is kind of something that happens often. Llamas like to stick their faces in things and get cut up and get their faces messed up a little bit, and kind of common practice for them, and especially when they're guard llamas for guarding. So yeah, and then so we had that excitement, you know, vet comes yesterday, and that was all good and exciting. And then I got the fenugreek seed tea and horehound candy is what the naturopath told me I needed for my little visit that I needed to do. And then thought the evening was winding down last night. We were getting ready to sit down and eat, and I get a text about a Wolfdog needing rehomed. And I was like, well, yes, possibly, let me meet him. Is he neutered? Is he unneutered? He's unneutered. Okay. Can we do this tomorrow? No, I really need you to come tonight. He doesn't get along with the other animals. So hubby and I go, and, you know, I go out with my friend, and she shows me said dog that got dumped on her. And so he's friendly. He's not, you know, anything I would have worried about bringing home. Hubby hadn't made his way around yet. So when hubby makes his way, he kind of was being, because the people that he got left with, actually are very, very good, friends of ours. We're gonna call them the Felix cat family. I don't know if any of you remember that old cartoon, Felix the cat, but he reminds me very much of Felix the cat, and so we're gonna call them the Felix the cat family. And our entire relationship with the Felix cat family is well, it's divinely driven. it's divinely and purposefully driven. I would say that that's a fair assumption. Would you?
What?
I said that our
assumption? Relationship with healers
is divinely guided and
yes, very much so. He's
driven.
He's just such a strong messenger. He always puts.
He is a very strong messenger of the Lord. Him and his wife, definitely both of them. They're very strong messengers of God. And they didn't come from the best of places, either one of them. They're kind of, if any of you are on my Facebook and you see that meme that I float around every now and again where I say holistic or spiritual healer, and there's this picture and it's like, usually a cat going crazy or something, and it's like when you're a spiritual healer but they didn't realize that you were a gangster before. Kind of where they are, they've gone through a lot of changes to get where they are, and their faith is very strong, and it's very refreshing. But all of our dealings with them are very divinely guided, from the first moment that we met them. And actually, hubby met them first, and he actually was working with Felix the cat, and out of nowhere, Felix just walked up to him, and on a job site, people milling about everywhere, other workers, and here's this small, tiny, little is he Mexican?
Yeah.
Tiny little Mexican guy with, a bright, hard hat and vest on that just walked right up to my hubby and never knew him and never really spoken to him, and was just like, can we pray? You look like you need to pray, brother. And, hubby kind of looked at him and was like, yeah, I do. And thank you. And you came right at the right moment. And they talked, and he offered help at a time that we needed it.
Advice.
And his help comes in strange ways. Often it's advice. He gives some very, very sound advice. His wife is the same way. And it took me a long time before I actually met the cat's wife. I didn't actually meet the cat himself for a long time either. Hubby was just always glowing and talking about him, and every day with work, at work with him was a faith, a journey, I think, in faith, and remembering what it is to have it.
He is somebody that looks for the Lord's voice in his life in every moment.
Yes, he looks for the Lord's voice in his life at every moment, as hubby explains it. And so, then he helped us at a time that we really needed it, by advice. And then he randomly, and the advice that he helped us with was getting the property that we have, and helping to lead us here. And then when we got the property, he didn't really ask us. He just kind of showed up with a pop-up camper and dropped it off and was like, here, I don't need this anymore. And at that time, we were living the dream, baby. We were in a cabin tent. It was set up on the property. We had our one dog and our one cat and our 2 bearded dragons we had at that time still, and our little family. And we had the cabin tent, and we had the wood burner in the cabin tent. We were living the dream. and 2 baby goats. No, we didn't have baby goats yet. We hadn't even done baby goats. We weren't even there. So yeah, we were still in the cabin tent. This is when we had first gotten on the land, and we were living the dream, man. Cabin tents, what can I say? They're great. They are amazing. Not in high wind, though. Not really for Colorado life. Yes, they make them here in Colorado. Yes, they advertise the crap out of them, seeing them all over the place. Especially in, the Colorado High Rocky Mountains, and you see them, and they've got their beautiful cabin tent, and there's smoke coming out of their chimney, and it looks so beautiful, and they're next to the lake. What they're not showing you is the 45-mile-an-hour wind gust that is going to come through in what they call a microburst and rip your tent up from the ground and carry it a mile. That's for real. Or in our case, it never carried it away. In our case, we got microbursts and oh my gosh. At the time, everybody, at the time that this was happening, it was scary. And I was angry, and I hated life, and we were new to Colorado. I didn't know that winds and microbursts and things were a thing. And now I'm so proud, because at the time this was not at all funny. And now I'm recapping this story for you guys, and I can't stop giggling. But the microburst comes through, and the winds have been bad all day. It's been trying to rip the tent up from the ground all day. And I mean, we have it pretty embedded too, but remember, I live in this huge alpine desert, that sandy, soily ground. It's not, ironclad. Now, we did have rebar in the ground, and we had, we had this thing pretty down, we thought. And then the wind started coming through, and it was trying to pick it up, and we had done a lot of stuff to try to prevent that. And then these microbursts started coming through, and it was me and the 2 boys. At the time, hubby was at work, and we did have the Bell living here, but he was at work too at that time. And it was me and the 2 boys 4 years ago, all on the side of the tent, holding the sides down while the wind ripped through. Oh, it picked us up. It put us back down. And I mean, I am positive that if we could have recorded ourselves, or if you were somebody else on the outside looking in, that this was probably one of the most comical things you have probably ever witnessed in your life. Of course, by the time hubby and Belle returned to the homestead, then it was completely calm. Nothing's going on. Hubby's mad because the tent ripped on the one side. It's got a rip in it now. And he's like, what were you guys doing in it? I remember I had just kind of lost it. I think I lost a little bit that day, and I was just like, I was busy holding my own home down to the ground. I've never had to do that ever in my whole life. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm doing this. And now I look back at it, 4 years ago, and that is one of the funniest stories to me now. But it was by far not funny then. It was just not. And then, so the cat had shown up and just dropped off this pop-up camper out of nowhere. It was great. And then somebody else gifted us a temporarily livable RV or camper, really. It's tow behind camper. Quite large, about the size of a small single wide trailer. Real small one. But it's old. It was actually, it was a 1979, and he had started remodel that didn't really get completely finished. So we had been gifted that right at the same time that the cat had kind of shown up and given us the pop-up camper. So the pop-up camper had kind of become the boys, and it wasn't in that great of condition. The pop-up itself needed to be patched and worked on. So the boys just kind of used it more as like I guess like a tree house without a tree. And now it's fixing to be a chicken coop. Everything gets rehomed. The big RV that was gifted to us, now that it's, we spent 2 years living out of that, and they're not really meant to live in that long and be adjusted for like permanent type living. But we do, and we adjust them and we make them these gypsy wagons now. And but it's kind of beat, which we knew it was going to be that way because, like I said, it was gifted to us. It wasn't in that great a condition. He had started remodeling, wasn't able to finish. And, we don't know really anything about refurbishing or remodeling anything of this nature, and it's not really anything we want to undertake. So that is actually going to get pulled out into the pasture. Well, it's going to get gutted and pulled out to the pasture, and it's going to be a goat barn for the goaties. And they'll love it. They like coming in and out. And our original 2 goats will absolutely adore it, because when we first got them, they spent many a night in that camper with us. It was too cold for their little baby butts to be outside, which is funny that we think that now, because ours give birth and we never think it's too cold for our babies out there. But they're still with their moms, and there's a lot of stuff going on. When we got them, they should have still been with their moms, but they weren't, and they were bottle babies. So, we had to be moms. So they spent many a night in there. They're pretty familiar with it anyway. So it's a piece of nostalgia that gets to stay. And that's really nice. So he had done so much to help us, and every time he comes around, it's always some sort of a gifting or a need to be filled, and vice versa. They finished kind of the job they were working on, and he didn't really see him much anymore. Even though we live close to one another, schedules and everything. And we had even thought we had lost, his number. And then just out of nowhere one day, things kind of changed, and I was working with someone and found out that she was related to the cat in this weird, odd way. And, we hadn't spoken to them in probably a year. Not because anything was wrong or anything. So we just, hadn't really talked or connected much. And, we would run into each other here or there and say hi, bye, whatever. We had ended up getting a dog from them because they had puppies that they needed to get rid of, and they had called and asked to take a pup. So we had done that, and that was Pandora. For any that were listening way back when Journey started, you would have heard a lot about Pandora. Because, well, she was Pandora. And she was crazy. We loved her to pieces, though. And unfortunately, Pandora didn't make it. She is the one, actually, that my bestie, Scrappy, accidentally hit with the car when she was driving by my house. Pandora saw the car, thought the car was stopping here, and it wasn't, and it kept going instead, and Pandora went out to greet her like she normally would, and she got clipped by the car, and she did not make it through that. So then we didn't talk to the cat for a while, and then all of a sudden, I'm working with somebody who's related, and I get this really weird call and from her, and she's saying that we may want to go check on the cat and his wife because his mother just died. And, we didn't waste any time. We got right on that, and we started sending messages, and it was a really, really bad situation. There were drugs involved in the situation, and his mother was murdered by another family member, and it's an awful situation. I'm not going to go too into that. That's private details, but the bottom line is drugs are involved with family member, and that family member killed Felix the cat's mother. And so we wasted no time. We went right away. And when we got there, he was shocked. His wife was shocked to see us. They were shocked. We were the last people that they expected to see. And, we showed up going, "Do you need to pray? You guys look like you need to pray." And they're going, "Yes, actually we do." And we got to be their strength and their messengers, and our moment of showing up. They had no idea that we would even have known what happened because it wasn't even public knowledge. And the only reason that I knew is because I happened to have fallen into work with a fellow relative of his that he didn't even know I was working with. So it was a shock all the way around, and we were some of the first people to make it around to them, and thus we were able to help them at a time that their faith was faltering a little bit, and bring them back around and remind them, and that was a very good point. And then we were also able at that time to provide them with a new baby goat. They had been wanting a goat, and we had babies fresh on the farm, and nothing helps you get over death than new life. And they wanted a baby. We had a baby goat, and I do not regret that decision. They pamper that boy. That boy is so pampered that I want to come back and be their goat. I think mine are spoiled. But he gets this one-on-one spoiling. And so they got him from us, and then so last night we're sitting here, and it's Felix the cat that's like, we need you to take this dog. He's a wolf dog. We know you already got wolf dogs. So we rush over to meet this dog, and he really didn't seem to care one way or another that we were there or not. Not unfriendly, not overly friendly. And then they opened the kennel, and he met my husband, and he jumped right up on him, and he gave him a bear hug, and he started kissing him, and he just, boom, he was at his side. We brought him home last night. We put him in the kennel that they gave us. They said, this is his kennel, this is where he's been. So we put him in the kennel overnight because, we do have the hybrids, the wolf hybrids. He too is a wolf hybrid. And you never know how that introduction's going to go. Especially because it's nighttime, we just got done making dinner, everybody's inside, it's a small space. So, pump the brakes, slow down. Let's do introduction in daylight. Responsible pet owners. So, we get him all set up in his wool-lined kennel. And, we all settle in for the night. This morning we all get up. The first one that he met was Cooper, the livestock dog, which was the one that we were least concerned about at all. We really thought that would be no issue, no problem. Cooper was not having this. Nope. He is the only new guy, apparently, allowed on the homestead. Cooper was not down with the new dog arrival. And didn't want to be very friendly, which surprised us. But it's good because it shows that he has bonded and that what is here is his, and he's protective of it. Now the second one that he got to meet was my little girl. Now, little Princess B, my little Princess B, she doesn't like other dogs. She never has. She's never been that friendly. Just her own little group here. She normally doesn't go with me places or do things with me like that because she doesn't get along with other people off the homestead or other dogs off the homestead. So she is always the hardest when it comes to bringing home something new, even a new goat. She doesn't like that either. pretty much anything new. Betty Ross, I think, is very much a Taurus like I am, and she's like, no, we don't like new things. I've learned to adapt and overcome, but she's a wolf, and she does her own thing, man. And she don't want to adapt and overcome. She wants to do her thing. So, thought that was going to be the hardest introduction. They did see him last night. They got kind of whiff and wind of him. They were smelling through the door and all. And they were, crazy wolf talking all over the place. And then, this morning she went out, she met him, and they were insta buddies. She's never taken anything that quickly. Cooper took weeks before she didn't snap and growl at him every time he came within her chain circle outside or inside the house. Weeks it took. But she was insta buddies with this gentleman. Then he decided, Thor is his name, by the way, everybody, I don't think I said that. When we picked him up, they said his name was Thunder. But he does not answer to that. He does not know that name. I don't know if he had a different name and they renamed him or what, but he doesn't really know that name. He's completely not been worked with really or not been trained. And he's raw. He doesn't have good or bad habits. He just reacts. It's still very puppy oriented. He is probably
awesome. That's what he is. Awesome.
He's probably just right under a year or getting ready to turn a year old. That is what they said. So then Thor decided to push his way right into the house, chain and all, while Bruce was in the house. Now, this is the scariest meeting of all, because this is the two uncut wolf hybrids, male, meeting for the first time. This is scary, and Thor just shoved his way in on Bruce Banner. And we know Bruce doesn't like being rushed up on. He doesn't like sudden movement. He doesn't like being put in a corner. Very similar to the Hulk. He lives up to his name. He's big Mr. Fluff and Stuff and lovey-dovey until you've made him mad. You don't want to see him when he's angry. He's a totally different animal when he's angry. So Thor just rushed right on in, and we thought, oh Lord, please don't let this be, this huge death-defying fight, because the goal was to let them, Bruce and him were supposed to meet with Thor in the kennel so that they could meet and have something in between them solid and see how they did. But he rushed in, and instead of Bruce's normal reaction that we would be used to with him, which he even shows with Betty herself when she rushes in the door like that, nope, insta-buddy. I mean, just went right to, hey buddy, let's smell each other's butts and play. And they've all three been pretty much insta-buddies. Now, we're getting a little bit of figuring out the alpha rules. This is a change of game here. Because up till now, Bruce has been the alpha because Bruce is the only uncut male. Bruce being the wolf hybrid. He and Betty, by natural means, she won't let Bruce breed with her. She wants nothing to do with that. Bruce never pushes it, never tries, really. They have no real interest in each other that way. She is in full-blown heat now. And you would never know that by being around Bruce. However, this boy comes along and suddenly you know she's in heat. They have spent all day flirting and going back and forth. Things we've never witnessed her do with Bruce. So this is putting Bruce in an interesting position. And Thor's not backing down. Thor's not small. He's definitely bigger. I do believe he's bigger than Betty Ross. By a little bit, but he's not quite bigger than Bruce. But he is a year younger than Bruce, and he's still got another 2 years of growth on him. Now, also we have a slight difference in our mixtures, because we have Betty and Bruce, who are, they are shepherd. What shepherd is this?
I believe they have Border Collie on them.
Yeah, Border Collie, that's it. They are Border Collie and
she shows Border Collie traits. Bruce,
yeah,
not so much.
They are a Border Collie and Mexican
Timberwolf.
Timberwolf mix. Which is gorgeous. Now, Bruce is twice the size, easy, of my little Betty Ross. Now, Betty Ross also was the smallest. She was the runt of the litter, and it was a very large litter, and she didn't get quite the nourishment that she should have. Bruce is also Border Collie, and
you don't show no Border Collie traits.
Is also the same mix. Now, our new boy Thor, he is Husky and Red Wolf mix. So the sizing's going to be a little different. The Mexican Red Wolves really aren't so big. The Timberwolves are larger. But these guys are not quite as large as we were expecting them to be. They are Betty's not an outlandish size. Now, Bruce, to us, isn't an outlandish size. Now, to other people, when they see Bruce, he's a huge dog. They're like, oh my God, he's a monster. And we're like, what, fluffing stuff over here? Really? But, you know, I mean, we've had him since he was this little ball of fluff, you know. So, there's a little difference there. Now, she's very flirty with him. They've accepted him. So this is looking really good. This could be my good hybrid breeding pair. Which I was hoping was going to come to me. And we had thought about, we were looking into purchasing a male for this purposing. But he just came to us. So now we have him. He's doing great, but this is now the hubby's boy. He has picked hubby. And it was like an instant best friend, instant bond. So he's gonna start his adventures with Dad tomorrow. And he will be going to work with Dad and doing all the dad things, because we don't really know what Dad does when he's not here. But Thor's gonna know. That GPS tracker I'm getting for him is gonna come in real handy. Because then Mom's gonna know what Dad does too when he's not home. No. I had to make that joke because we had just discussed about getting GPS trackers for the wolves, because we've decided we're gonna start a new Sunday thing now that we have 3 of these guys and we have 2 uncut males. And hopefully they're, Thor and Betty are going to breed. And, that's going to start our little grouping here. So we are going to start on Sundays doing, wolf training, because they all need more work, especially Thor right now, and no reason to let Thor train by himself. So we're gonna every Sunday we're gonna take them up to a good spot up in the mountain and woods and whatnot, and we are going to do some wolf training and some running and letting them get their own time in, and doing that with them. So that'll be a cool new addition probably to the shows in the evening, you know, talking about wolf training for the day. We've worked with them a lot today, but today being the first day, we didn't go up to the woods or any of that yet. We're going to save that for next week after we've had a week of relaxing and settling and everybody learning their places, because we're still learning our places. You know, Thor's going to be getting better, because he's going to be going with Dad everywhere. He gets to go to work, and he's going to get to do all that with Daddy, and which is so funny because hubby was like, "What are you doing? I don't want another dog. We don't need another dog. This is ridiculous." And then, you know, dog was like, "Oh, but you're my dad though." And, you know, here's hubby going, "Oh, look at my boy. I love him so much. He's so great. He's amazing." Yeah, melted like a stick of butter. All it takes, apparently, to melt my husband like a stick of butter is a big fat wolf tail and some bright blue eyes and some little nibbles. But I think we underestimate the power of the animal-human connection. It's real. You connect with these guys. They become a part of your family. They become a part of your personality, of everything that you do. And especially with these hybrids, they're different than having anything else. And, you know, we were not at all wanting another male. And we were okay if Betty and Bruce never mated, or if they did. We had been looking into finding another male to mate with Betty, or a possible female to mate with Bruce. Now we're going to be allotted both, because we're going to be able to breed him and her, and then pull a pup from them, and then that pup can be bred back to Bruce, which would be awesome. And oh, look at you, big tummy rubber. So that will be tightening up the wolf line more too. So it'll be really interesting to see if she in fact really does like him enough to let him breed with her. So far it seems that they're going in that direction. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens. And then the combination of what they're going to produce. She's got the wolf blue eye trait. And she's solid black. That timber wolf solid black. I mean, she's, as my favorite, one of my all-time favorite movies from the 80s, Legend.
Betty, lay down.
Black as pitch, black as tar, black as night. And she's got bright ice blue eyes. Thor has come to us, and he looks more husky, marking-wise, except the red in him, that goes over the grayness. And he's got those same ice blue eyes. Now, Bruce did not get the ice blue eyes. He's got these chocolate brown hazel eyes that are just melt your heart adorable. But he does still have the blue eye trait there. It's in him. Because Betty has it. So it's there to come out in any of his when he breeds finally. So it'll be interesting to see what the hybrids will produce. If she lets it happen. The fur is different too between the breeds. He is shorter haired,
much more dense,
but dense, very, very dense, but shorter haired. Now Betty and Bruce both have the longer hair. They're dense too, but not quite as dense as he is. Well, Bruce is. But Betty didn't get, but she's a little bit of a, well, she's a princess. So she doesn't spend as much time outside either. So she doesn't quite get as fluffy as Bruce and Thor do. Well, Thor has never been inside before, apparently, really. By his actions and his behavior bringing him inside, he's never really had that experience. Not that he seems that he was mistreated in any way. He just seems that people got him and didn't really know what to do with him. And thus, I think he just spent a lot of time in fences, kennel runs. And then our friends got him. They only had him for a couple of days, and they couldn't keep him because he wasn't getting along with their animals. But, we have so many more animals here than what they do, but he does okay here. He didn't do good there, I guess, so. But, then again, apparently he was supposed to be hubby's dog. So, we are looking forward into the future of what that's going to bring. Because, like I said, they have the potential to be an amazing couple, but they have to decide they want to be a couple. We can't really make that happen, really. Now, I think I've covered mostly everything. Oh, no, because then today, after we took this new wolf in, wolf hybrid, wolf dog, after we've taken him in, rescued him now, which, everybody just keeps telling us, we just need to put Red's Rescue Center. Well, actually, they say I just need to put a sign out front on my gate that says Red Sanctuary, because that's what I am. Be you on 4 legs or on 2 legs, I end up with the strays and the misfits and the ones that nobody wants and the ones that everybody says there's something wrong with. And I don't know. I guess we have kind of made it an art of taking on these things that, nobody else really wants and making them miraculous. There's really only one exception to that right now on the farm, or on the homestead, and that actually is the llama. That is Kitten. Kitten is the only thing that we really, truly sought out and paid for at a high price, specifically.
No, for her it wasn't a high price.
But for what we received from her, we actually didn't pay high prices. Cats. They just heard cats fighting outside, and there was a response. That's a cat.
Gotcha. Betty, stop. Betty.
Betty Ross. Enough, please. Thank you. That is the other problem that I have run into with wolf dogs. Or wolf dogs, hybrids, whatever you want to call them or feel comfortable with. I kind of like the terminology wolf dog, personally. So, I use that a lot. But the problem I've witnessed with wolf dogs compared to domestic dogs, when you have a domestic dog and they're in a home, a household, you can train them and they will typically listen to everyone in the household. So, your typical dog that you get, you teach it, sit, stay, lay, wait, whatever it is you're going to teach. And then everybody else can be like, sit, and the dog will sit, and, come, and the dog will come, or whatever. Once that baseline's been laid. Now, with wolf dogs, I've noticed that's not the same deal. I can look at Bruce, for instance, and call Bruce, yell at Bruce, tell Bruce to sit, tell Bruce to stay, and he will straight ignore me. Like I said, nothing. Now, my youngest son, who is his master, who is, bonded with him, and that's his wolf dog. And David says all the time, like, he feels like kind of Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, like, with the wolf dog. Like, he has his own wolf dog and adventures of, and he feels like he's in a fairy tale. And that's, as a parent, that's a really cool thing to hear your kid say. But, here is this tiny little 12-year-old with this huge wolf dog. And, here I am, like, telling him, stop, don't do this. And he's ignoring me doing it anyway. 12-year-old can come out of nowhere and give him a look and go, shh. And that's it. Done. He's over it. He's not doing it anymore. He's listening. He's doing what he's supposed to. And now my dog, Betty, I've been working with her, she knows. She mostly listens to me. But the working with him now on every Sunday and doing actual training sessions with them again is gonna bring her the rest of the way into tow, where I want her to be anyway. So, but hubby could tell her the same thing. Sit, stay, nope, son can tell her, just like he tells his dog, nope, no response. But I can say it, and there's a response, like she was just barking. Hubby had told her, Betty Ross, stop. She kept going, I'm Betty Ross, stop. That was the end of it. She was done. Now, it doesn't always work that way. Wolves are very vocal. And they like to be vocal. They like to throw that vocality around, and they like to sass. They like to talk back. They like to tell you what they think. Now, thus far, we have not been as blessed with, we thought ours were verbal, but now we've met Thor. Thor's brought a whole new level of verbal to the table. He has full-length conversations with you. And anything that doesn't agree with him. I've never met a dog as verbal as Thor is. He's very verbal. And it's wolf talk. It's not, I don't know, unless you've ever been around wolves or wolf dogs.
Dogs don't do that.
It's a very different kind of way that they do it. It's, this rah, 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 rah. But it's like this high, low tone, back and forth thing. And Betty Ross, no. You're not going out there because the cats are all out there. I know your squishy is out there. But
That's
tonight,
what it is. Her squishy's outside.
But tonight, Squishy's got to stay outside. Betty Ross has a squishy. Her squishy is not actually a toy. Her squishy is actually a living cat. His name is Joker. Joker is a black and white cat. He's very big boy. He's probably the most badass cat we have on the homestead. Probably the biggest cat we have on the homestead too. But she was here when Joker was born. And Joker's mom didn't really want... I mean, she raised him, but he was kind of the misfit of the group. And from the moment Betty was allowed, she adopted Joker, and Joker adopted her. And he has become her squishy. He lays with her, he rubs on her, they lay together. She does this weird wolfy cleaning chew thing on him. And he gets into it, and it's like she's petting him in some weird way, and he really rolls with it and loves it. And, you know, they have the most amazing interactions I've ever seen. But that's what we call him. We call him her squishy. And her squishy is outside tonight because Thor has not been around anything really before. So when they say that he's not friendly with animals, it's not that Thor isn't friendly. Thor is pushy. Thor has no manners. And Thor just generally doesn't know. So it's a natural wild curiosity. And then you've got that wild element, you know, so it changes that natural curiosity to that natural wild curiosity, like I was saying. And, you know, once we get the basic manners instilled, you don't jump on the table. You don't run out the door just because the door gets opened. You know, we don't take food off of plates. We don't jump up on laps while people are trying to eat. We don't walk over people. Once we get these base things installed, he's going to be much better. But and like I said, it's not that he's bad. Just nobody's actually worked with him in these manners yet. And he wants to learn. He very much wants to learn. He wants to please hubby hugely. That seems to be a big thing for him. And he wants to get along with everybody in general. But at the same time, he's not going to take any shit either. He's already made that quite clear. So, you know, he isn't... He isn't going to let anybody walk all over him either. Which is good. You know, they've got to establish their own elements. So, now, he wants to please, he wants to make you happy, he's doing his best to mingle and get along and be part of the pack. And like I said, they immediately accepted him, which was just crazy to me, because we've never seen that happen, but we've never introduced them to another wolf hybrid before. This is the first time we've done this, introducing them to another domestic wolf hybrid mix. And it was like they instantly recognized that wolf, that mix. And we're instantly like, oh, yes. You know, I feel like my Betty Ross was like, oh, shoot. Where is it? I very feel that my Betty Ross was like, ooh, baby. And just all over, like, oh yeah, that's like my dude. I'm gonna be all over that. And then I feel, well, these aren't my words. This is hubby's words. Hubby's like, with Bruce, it's like Bruce is like, you know what, dude? You're cool. You can come home and be with my sister. I think you're awesome. Like, so we've got kind of that mix. Our only biggest issue right now is the food thing, because that's another thing with the wolves. Food is an issue for them, and it's hard to get them over that. So we're actually going to start working on that. We're actually, I'm going to start working with them. This is going to be probably more a mom project until it gets accomplished. But mom is going to start working with them with the food, and they are going to learn. Thor came with his own bowl, and this seems to be a big problem. See, we've gotten around a lot of the food aggression in the wolves because we've never assigned a specific bowl to our wolves for this reason. And even though sometimes they would get at each other over some food, it was never really ugly. Now we have Thor, and Thor came with his own bowl. And this is a problem because Thor wants, okay, as the alpha, Thor is supposed to eat first. He eats his fill, or Bruce. Okay, now normally it's Bruce. But when they have their own bowl and it's like assigned to them, now it's like you can't take food out of the bowl and give it to another dog. Like, we could bring in one big full bowl, and then you could take another bowl and split it and give each dog their own bowl, and they'd be okay with that. Now, they would switch each other a lot, or Bruce would try to take Betty's, and then Betty would back off to let Bruce have it, and then Betty would go to Bruce's bowl, and then Bruce would run over and take his bowl back, and then they'd bounce back and forth till Bruce finally had his fill, and then Betty would eat. That's kind of how the alpha thing works with him. But now with Thor, he came with his own bowl, and that's his bowl. So we didn't think about it. We filled it, we brought it in, and then we went to give Betty some food separate from him, and he had a conniption because we took food out of his bowl. That's now his food. He wants that food, and he's not going to stop till he gets it back. And Betty wants to eat out of his bowl, and that's a problem because that's his bowl. So we're going to do assigned bowls. And we're going to teach them their bowl to their name and waiting. And they're all going to get fed at the same time. And they're going to learn to wait their turn to get fed their bowl. And then they're going to get their bowls. And then they're going to learn to eat peaceably next to each other and enjoy their meals. It's going to be a little work, but we're going to get it done. that's one of my goals for the next month. Is to work on this food thing with him. Now, that being stated, Scarlett is going to be joining us very, very soon, I do believe. She just messaged and said she would be with us in about 2 minutes. Now, anybody who knows me and Scarlett knows that 2 minutes for Scarlett means more like 5 to 15. But that means she'll be with us shortly. So that's actually an awesome thing there. Because I wasn't sure if she was going to be able to join us at all tonight. But apparently she is. So that's going to be awesome and great and amazing. And so, let's see, we did weekly guidance already. I haven't done the full moon news recap yet. I was hoping that if Scarlett was going to come, that I was going to be able to do it once Scarlett had gotten with us, because she missed it last week. And yeah, she can go and listen to the replays too, but she doesn't like to do that, and she doesn't really have all that much time to do it either. So, you know what I mean, being fair. So I was hoping to hold out till she does that. Oh, so why I keep getting distracted a little bit. Okay, so Colorado Life with Bread. I should probably let everybody know that has happened. Tonight's strain actually could be, well, I'm distracted because we have the new Wolfdog, Thor, and he's here, and there was a lot of activity still going on. Now, everybody's mellowed out. Excuse me. Everybody's mellowed out. Even Mom, because apparently she's drunk on air. I don't know. But, and I didn't mean that like drunk on air, haha, radio joke. It kind of was a radio joke, bud, but I actually meant like drunk on the air that we breathe, because anybody who really knows me knows I'm not really a drinker. It's not really my gig. I used to be, and anybody who's listened to previous episodes of Jif, and we're gonna do it again. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But we're gonna do another one on why they actually call it spirits. And what it actually does. So we are going to do another episode on that. I haven't yet. But drinking's just, it's not my gig. I don't like it. Now, smoking's my gig. Love smoking. Love the weed. Love it. It's my favorite. Weed. It's great. It's great for a lot of things. Weed has helped me in a lot of ways. Health-wise, weed has done astounding things for me. I experienced, I was super, super sick. But I wasn't. I didn't get super sick. I stopped smoking weed. Weed wasn't legal. I shouldn't have been smoking it. I'm 40 years old now, whatever, fuck it. They can kiss my ass. I did shit that I shouldn't have done back when I shouldn't have done it. But that's my past, and this is the present, and it's led me to my future. Rock on. Okay? I'll own it. I own it. I never would have owned it before. I'm not gonna lie, though. I never would have owned it before I lived in a legal state, Gabe. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But now, I'm like, listen, all these states going legal. Everybody's figuring out. Weed has always been a thing for me. It helped calm me. It helped my anxiety. It helped me actually be able to be out of my shell. When I was younger, I very much stuck to myself. My parents were very afraid of a Doolittle situation in my life. I was often called by my parents, again, we're going to flash way back. I was called Ellie Mae. That was my nickname.
Still living up to it.
Ellie Mae was my nickname. Husband just violently whispered to me, you still live up to that nickname. But Ellie Mae was my nickname. I got along way better with animals than I did with people. People made me nervous. I didn't like being around them. I was very reclusive. I was very shelled up. And then one day, somebody introduced me to weed, and my whole world changed, and I was able to interact better, and I was able to go out and accomplish things that I never thought I would be able to do before. And I used it for that purpose. And then apparently it was doing more than I knew it was doing, because then I became a parent. And when I became a parent, like all parents do, we go through we have to do the right thing here, and we're not allowed to do this, and I don't want them to take my kid. So you go straight, quote unquote, and that's when I started falling apart. And I was honest with the doctors, I told them that I smoked marijuana, and they asked how much I smoked, and I'm like, well, I quit, and I've been quit for over a year, almost, and I actually had doctors back then telling me, well, if you ever tell anybody that we said this out loud, we will deny it, but you might want to start smoking weed again, because, these things that we're diagnosing you with now, we don't know how you hadn't shown signs or symptoms or been sick previous, and now all of a sudden it's coming out in you, and it's the only thing that you really say that you've changed is you've quit smoking. So, with that being like the only difference, I did take up smoking again for a bit to see if that was going to help. And it was helping a little bit, but it was minimal. And then we finally made the move to a legal state, which actually really had nothing to do with the fact that we moved here. I mean, it had a little to do with it, but it wasn't the main aspect of it. We didn't actually mean to make this move. It just kind of happened. It was divinely guided. We thought we bought property in Pennsylvania, and lo and behold, it wasn't in Pennsylvania. It was in freaking Colorado. And, well, shit. What do you do? Then you get here and you find out that the property that brought you here was like a mirage. It's there, but it's not. And you can't ever actually touch it. So, I mean, you know, but Colorado Life with Red tonight actually is Gypsy Brothers strain, which basically means my gypsy neighbor, who is pretty much like a brother. This is his own personal that he grew, because, you know, we swap in and out, and he doesn't know what he grows. He just grows it. He starts off knowing, and then somehow, I don't know, he forgets. So I'm smoking Gypsy Brother strain this evening, and, well, apparently it's a little... I'm going to say it's an indica. I feel very into the couch and very distracted, where the sativas usually help you focus and hone in a little bit better. This is probably a hybrid with sativa in it, because although it makes me kind of feel into the couch, it's not actually making me tired. It's just kind of into the couch, a little distracted, a little philosophical, maybe even, which isn't necessarily bad when you're doing a talk show. So, after we get all of this crazy has happened, and we've taken in the stray, we have had a new neighbor recently, and they're pretty close to us. They have dogs. We're not used to that. Our livestock isn't used to that. We've been adjusting, and it hasn't been an issue. But neighbor had given out word that he had a few things for sale, and hubby went over to talk to him about the shotgun that he wanted to sell, and needless to say, that didn't really happen. But what did happen is we were then gifted a 270 watt solar panel. Now, when I say gifted, I say gifted because we have no money. We have no money for that right now. We just started our solar. We just started our solar at Christmas. We've been holding out and doing things small bits at a time. Today is the first day that we have officially run completely on solar in the home, with no outside generated help. And we're going strong.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's my best friend calling
crap.
again. I wonder if something...
Okay. Give me just a moment. Oh, hold on. Okay, are you there? All right. So Scarlett is now with us, everybody, and that does change. I know a lot of you are complaining, and I'm sorry, but it does change the quality of sound now for everybody. I get quieter. Scarlett is harder to hear. We're working on this, guys. We're going to figure it out. It just takes a little bit of time, okay? So bear with us. Yep. And we know last week, guys, we're super sorry. But last week we know now that when we split the show and Scarlett picked up and I called into Scarlett, that somehow, some way we sounded great on Scarlett's end, but when it recorded us and you guys were hearing us, I sound like I'm underwater like a Muppet, and you can't hear me at all. And Scarlett sounds like she's having a one-way conversation with Crazy. Okay? So we're sorry.
Well, and we've been using a lot of different new programs and trying to see how they're working together. And we had to switch our newest streaming platform for the caster and some. So the audio problems are not as easy as done. I mean, a lot of people complain, but I would love to see them do their own show and see how many problems they have.
I don't necessarily mean to say complaining. I think I might have used that word a little harshly. It's not necessarily that they're complaining as much as they're like, yo, where'd you go? I went, but the thing is, a lot of people are listening to us not live. They're listening to us later. And I'm actually really digging this because now that we're on these new platforms like Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcast and what?
And the
Speaker itself. There's I don't know, there's a lot, okay? But now that we're on all of these, I can't even remember them all. There's so many. And
we're on more than we even realize too. So
right. But they're picking us up the next day or a couple days later, and they're playing us while they're at work or while they're whatever. And I'm really digging that. But what's happening is they're like, yo, man, I was really into this, and then nothing except Scarlett talking to herself. And I'm like, believe me, she's crazy, but she's not that crazy. Okay, she doesn't answer herself. She talks to herself, but she doesn't answer herself. Believe me, I was really there.
Right.
And
we had the caller, and we had Dwayne, and so I don't know if that affects sound either too. So we're all trying to just figure out all these new things.
Right. So just bear with us, guys. Okay, I just wanted to say we're aware.
Right, and we're working on it.
Right. Okay.
It's not something that we're not aware of, and we're just like, oh no, we're not going to fix it.
And I understand that for most of you who have come from Blog Talk over to here with me,
right, are super appreciative already without
right
knowing.
Now,
what we used to have compared to now is a totally different.
Now, last Sunday, some of our oldest listeners slammed the shit out of us.
Right.
Because that second half of the show, I don't know what happened.
It's so weird. Yeah, because that's really weird because we've been broadcasting the same way since we've moved to the new platform, so it's really weird that it was that bad.
Yeah, because they were slamming the shit, and I went and listened to it myself, and I was like, oh, holy shit.
But on the Spreaker itself, it sounds beautiful. So I don't know if it's once it leaves Spreaker and now these new people are remastering it technically, if that's where it's losing it in translation, because we've also found if we use OBS and then we, when people are using video and then we send it out, it lags. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Because I know that happens with one of our others once it leaves us.
See, when I know it's serious is when our oldest listener, you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Okay, when our oldest listener is like, what the shit?
What happened? What's going on?
Why do you sound like Aqua Woman underwater, who is also the Peanuts teacher?
That's so weird, because, that's weird. I don't know what... Yeah,
and I'm like, no, I don't sound like that. So I went and I listened on speaker, and I sounded like that. I listened, but it's after it was recorded, because while we were live, it sounded perfect.
It did, because you even heard it while we were on in the couple times that I had it.
Yes, it sounded freaking perfect. But when it recorded it, when you replay that second half on speaker, I literally sound.
I wonder if something we could talk to to them about, because maybe there is some latency or lag after it
Right.
explodes.
Because I literally sound like the Peanuts teacher underwater.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. Because
and then there are parts in there, because I listened to the whole thing to see if we sounded like that the whole way or if it was just like a moment. I sound like that all the way up until you can't hear me at all. And you're literally talking to yourself.
That's weird.
For like an hour.
And there's 2 other people there, so that's weird.
No. The 2 other people were your show, my dear.
Oh, last Sunday. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about last Sunday's show when we had... See, and last Sunday was the first time that we did me doing the Skype thing.
Right.
And we split the show, remember?
No, because I've called you on Skype before for my show. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is weird that it did that, but I wonder if it's not lag or latency, and we might need to talk to Spreaker about it.
Right.
That they can find out.
Right.
Because, see, like I said, when we use the OBS in the Spreaker, for some reason, when it goes back out, the video is strange, too.
Yeah. See? So I'm just saying, like, our oldest...
I'm wondering if it's something from leaving us, then it goes out to these other platforms.
Our oldest and dearest listener was like, what the shit? And I'm like, what the shit? And I went and listened and I was like, what the shit? And then I thought, well, maybe it's just what you listen to me on. And then so I went and listened on like 3 different platforms.
It's gotta be once it re-uploads, it's gotta be some type of lag or latency.
And I'm like, what the shit?
Why did it get rid of the voice? Like, that doesn't make sense. Are they censoring it? We gotta get.
And then there's some parts where I'm just, you can tell I'm there, but I'm so low that you can't hear me.
Which is so weird because I never adjusted the volume.
I know it.
You know what I mean? That's so strange. But we gotta keep notes on stuff like that. We don't know. And in this day and age, you never know if it's censorship or if it's like technical difficulties. Or
you ain't never lied.
You know what I mean? Or if it was us, our equipment. You never know.
I just wanted to say to everybody, we're on top of it. We've been talking about it.
We've got some stuff to hopefully fix this problem. But...
Now, so this is why I had Scarlett call in. Now, I know it changes quality and all. I know everybody really likes the quality when I have my headphones on. I get that. I totally am with you guys. And very soon I'm going to have a laptop that's going to run on the solar and it's going to be fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, because
we
don't have to worry. Then Red can type me through the Skype and it won't be a big deal.
Exactly. So we're going to get it. Okay, guys? Now,
it's gonna work. Get it.
Where we are at right now, and everything you've missed a lot, but where we're at right now is we are now up to pulling 370 watts of solar panel power. Y'all.
You did tell me that. I didn't know that.
You knew that, but they didn't. This is where we're at in the show right now.
Right.
Y'all, that's my whole house.
Oh, right.
I don't need any more solar panels.
No, that's actually nice.
I could get more, and that'll be fine. All I need now, dude, is batteries. I need batteries.
Yeah, you gotta stock up batteries, yep.
But so we really took this huge jump in the homestead just today.
Which is great. Great news.
Okay, so it's been
And it will be better, so that will be even better, because now you don't even have to worry. Especially when you're running.
Well, and as I was just telling everybody, tonight's the first night that we're running completely off of solar.
Oh, are you? Yay.
We are completely running on solar right now. I've charged my phone on solar. The whole inside of the house is on solar right now.
Good for you. That's good shit.
So I have light. I have stuff happening. So I have light bulbs, G.
I know.
Like, and I don't want to confuse anybody.
Just your tires, like, what over here? Like,
I did not hook my RV up to the solar because I don't want to.
Yeah, the oil lamp could be an ornament for a while. That's true.
Hey, we still have our freaking propane lantern. Don't get it twisted.
Right. Oh no, that's what he said. He's like, don't throw them away, but they get put away for a little bit.
No, actually, because right now our kit only came with 2 light bulbs. That work this way. And I have to figure out how to order more. So because my house,
are they special bulbs or something?
They plug right into my controller. Not the inverter, but the controller. So their power comes directly from the solar panel. And
you probably need some type of special bulb for that so it doesn't blow it out or something.
They plug directly into that, and then they come out. So they're like having.
Came in that kit though?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe that's something.
They're USB. They hook into your USB.
Yeah, but he doesn't know if these ones are special that plug into the controller of the solar thing.
Right.
Right. So that's interesting. That's good though. I'm excited for you. I'm sure you're like, ooh, there's a lot of light here. I can actually do it.
Well, actually, we only have the 2 light bulbs. So one's over in the bedroom area, and then the other one is in like this kitchen area. But because the house is so long, I need one more in this living room area.
By the front, yeah.
To be able to truly light it the way I want to light it. So the propane lantern got moved a little further up front, and we're using it. But now its light as massive as it seemed to us before.
Right. I was going to say, like, this is like massive light compared to, propane light or oil light at night.
And don't get it twisted, guys. It's not like I have a 60-watt bulb. These are only probably equivalent to maybe a 30-watt bulb.
Right.
And I'm going to say, I don't know if they still do this or not, because I know they were changing light bulbs, but I would say a 30.
They brought them back.
Okay.
So they're bringing all back the incandescent ones.
I would say that these are equivalent to like a 30-watt soft bulb.
Okay, yep. Like one of those, like,
but it's like, bulb. I feel like fucking Interview with a Vampire. Like, these lights make it brighter than the day.
Right. Like, I don't usually see stuff at night like this.
Right. Like, I'm like, turn it back off. And I'm like, I don't like it. It was better when I couldn't see this.
Right. Because I was just about to say, now you're seeing stuff that you're like,
It was like, life was better without light. Let's get rid of this. When the sun goes down, I don't got to look at it anymore. Let's go.
Exactly. Now it's like, okay.
But so that's a big jump, and that's going to help because now they're going to get hooked up, and that's going to be really, really super fucking exciting.
Yeah, you can only get so much. I mean, but the kid is always light though. No, it's always light though. So I mean, but I mean, a light bulb at night is a big deal compared to a headlight or oil lamp.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge step up.
And having the now, okay, so we bought 100-watt solar panel.
Oh, did you?
We did. That's what we bought our kit with, is the 100-watt.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No. I thought you said something else. Okay.
Now, we just got another 270-watt solar panel.
Ooh, yes.
So
double.
This now makes 370 watts of panel.
That's a big deal. Today they got 175 watt. No, what did you just say?
270 watt panel.
270 watt panel today from a little trade with the neighbors with the wood. So that was a good deal.
And what was nice is the neighbors, like, I don't know if you would be interested in that, but I don't know what it's worth either.
Right.
What would you give me for that? Would you just give me a night's worth of wood for that? And my husband looked at him and was like, you know what?
No, that's like weeks worth of wood. Like, that ain't no days worth of wood for that. That's like some weeks worth of wood.
And this was a moment, right? This was a true moment because my husband.
Honestly, you could have just took it and said, "Yeah, night of wood. Here you go."
Yes. Okay. Yes. And instead, my husband goes, you know what, man? Here's the deal. $1 a watt is considered fair.
Right.
anything under $1 a watt is a deal, and anything over $1 a watt, you're kind of ripping people off.
Yeah.
So those are 270 watts, my brother.
Right.
You can put those on Craigslist and make $250 a piece because he has two.
Oh, right.
You know, you can make $250 a piece for those tomorrow.
True.
Okay. True. He looked at my husband and he's like, so are you interested? And hubby's like, listen, I'm a mason. It's winter and I'm broke.
Right.
I just had to pay a vet to come out and look at my llama.
Right.
So he looked at him and he's like, well, how about, basically, he didn't say it, but it was basically because you were so honest.
Right. Because you didn't, you know.
You didn't just rip me off.
Right.
How
and
about...
And he realizes that he could have at that moment, too, I'm sure.
Right. And he's like, how about we agree on $150?
Okay.
And you take it right now. And you pay me when your work's back and you have money.
Oh, yes. Good looking player. Thank you. Holla.
And if you have any wood to spare, maybe we could work that out. Hubby took him a big old load of wood. Now we only owe 100.
Nice.
But it's not like he's like, I want it like next week or I want it next paycheck. He's like literally
real happy to have wood too, though.
Well, he said, you know, he's like, I'm a concrete man and it's winter.
Right.
You know, I know what that's like.
Right. They're basically like the same piece.
Right. And he's like, so, you know, when work picks back up, you get me back.
Right.
Now, so he gifted us. I feel that he gifted us one.
Yeah.
And then he kept the other one so that he can sell it and get some decent money. And, you know, so yeah.
That board that will power everything that you have or whatever want to, really, at this point.
Oh, yeah, that'll do a washer and a dryer. That'll freaking do everything. That'll do everything. That'll do my whole house, G. I just got my whole house done.
Yep.
All I need now are the batteries.
And the batteries are only, they're like 75, you know, to $100 a piece.
Well, okay, yes. The cheapest good one is about $70, which is what I bought this round.
Right.
But I only bought one because that's all I could afford. Now, it's also only a 35 watt. 35 hour. Right. Yeah, 35 amp hour. Right. So I want to upgrade that, and so I'm looking at about $145 for the next battery I want.
Would you pay for what is ours? How many amp hours is ours?